Welcome back to our special report on the disinformation epidemic. Social media replicates what life used to be like. You log on, you see some crazy rumor posted by your Uncle Louie, you click on it, you press like, and you move on to the next post. But in our increasingly polarized world, the fact that rumor, innuendo, conspiracies, outright lies are amplified by social media is no accident. That is a feature built into platforms like Twitter and Facebook. It is part of their business model. Take Facebook, for example, which has over 2 billion active monthly users. When you sign up, you're asked to enter a bunch of personal data. When you press OK and agree to Facebook's terms of reference, terms of service, you allow it to harvest your data however it sees fit. It then takes your data and runs algorithms, basically formulas, designed to get you to engage more on the platform, to stay on the site longer, to click through more clicks, and to get more ads targeted to you. That's the main way Facebook makes its money. Facebook ranks content for you based on those algorithms, the probability that you'll like, comment on, or share a story. The problem is that this process can point you to some really outlandish stories. And before long, you might find yourself in the online equivalent of a rabbit hole, spending hours consuming misinformation and maybe even disinformation, deliberate lies. If you're vulnerable, and by the way, Facebook knows if you are, you could be tricked, or worse, you could be radicalized. And that's how the Facebooks of the world become an effective tool for bad actors to game social media in order to promote violence, to lie about things like vaccines, to interfere in elections. Long before the election of 2016, Facebook knew all of this to be true, but it followed a familiar pattern of responses. It denied there was a problem. When it acknowledged the problem, it treated it as a public relations issue, not as a core business issue. It offered up half-baked solutions that changed nothing, and it fought off attempts to regulate it. Because what Facebook has created is immensely profitable. Look at its stock price since going public in 2012. It has risen 644% to a value of $806 billion. Joining us now, Roger McNamee. He's a legendary tech investor and early and influential investor in Facebook well before it went public. Roger says he warned Mark Zukerberg of the immense problems that Facebook's business model could unleash. In fact, Roger has written a book about it last year called Zucked, Waking Up to the Facebook Catastrophe. Roger, you and I have talked, all four of us have talked several times, and you indicated the degree to which this is a feature, not a bug. But now we are less than 2 months away from an election, and there is a chance that Facebook's unwillingness to deal with this could actually threaten our democracy.
Now, Ali, that's absolutely true. The company essentially believes that it is sovereign, the equivalent of another nation. It has more monthly active users than there are notional members of Christianity, nearly twice as many active monthly users as there are people in China. And so Mark Zuckerberg very much has the view that no one can tell him what to do. And his business is made by keeping people active and emotionally engaged on the platform. And there's no content on earth that does that better than hate speech, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. And it's not like they sit there and say, we're going to promote those things. It's just they create algorithms designed to keep us engaged. And those algorithms will naturally promote harmful content. The real problem we have here is that it isn't just about advertising out. It also is true of Facebook groups. This was something created initially to give people a chance to get together and share things with family and friends and people who are interested in the same things. The problem is that Facebook groups have evolved to a point where they're now really the incubator for conspiracy theories and disinformation and hate. And in that context, Facebook's own research says that 64% of the time that a person joins an extremist network on Facebook, it is because Facebook has recommended that they do so. And Brandy and Ben have done amazing work to show how that has promoted things like QAnon and made conspiracies much, much more prevalent in our society. It's effectively mainstream.
Roger, you and I mean, one of the things that fascinates me is that I'm a business reporter. To me, I would think that a CEO warned about this would do something about it. You make it clear in your book that you identified this a long time ago and warned that this could be a problem. Why the resistance to fix this?
So, Ali, I really think, people sit there and assume it's about money, and I think money is secondary. I really think it's about power. I think Mark Zuckerberg has a vision that connecting all the people in the world on one network, his network, is the best thing any human being can do. And in his notion, it has to do with efficiency, it has to do with scale, it has to do with imposing his vision on them. And that kind of power is intoxicating. And remember, between when the company went public and 2018, the company got very little pushback. In fact, what it really got was tons of love from investors and journalists and the like. And they were in their own filter bubble and started to believe their own press and their own point of view about what was going on. And I just think that they're at this point now where they are just disconnected. There's really no sensitivity, no understanding that they might have a responsibility to society. And at this point, with the election coming so closely, this has become a national security issue because effectively the platform can be used by anybody. These advertising tools can be used by campaigns, they can be used by foreign governments, they can be used just by provocateurs, people who would like to make trouble. And that happens every single day. And from Facebook's point of view, that's just business as usual. They want to hide behind the First Amendment. They want to see this is about freedom of speech. But amplification is not freedom of speech. Amplification is a business choice for profit, and to undermine a pandemic response, which they have done, to amplify QAnon and create a merger of an online thing with militias in the street, those are things Facebook can't gotcha. They have done that for their own benefit.
Roger, thank you for joining us very early for you out in the West Coast. Roger is an investor and a real genius at that stuff, but he's also a musician, which is why you see all that paraphernalia behind him. His Twitter handle is @MoonAlice, and you should follow him. Brandy and Ben are sticking with me. Roger, by the way, is the author of a book, which you do have time to read before the election to understand this better. It's called Zucked, Waking Up to the Facebook Catastrophe.